degree classification thing with you. Right. Hey, I've got another thought as well. I am writing the online version of this degree, so it's going to be done through CU Online, and shortly I'll be starting the final year of that. So again, if there's any reason why you don't carry it on at this stage, not that that would, you can always finish it off online as well. So there's that version as well. Okay. So classification calculators. So what this does is it allows you to add in your grades for each of the modules that you've done over the past. So it either works that you can do it over 2 years. So it'll be the last 4 modules that you've done plus the 4 this year, or it will work on the final year. So it's basically the best case scenario. So whatever the best is, we're trying to add those results in. So let's have a think about how this would work best. So if I just type in, so I don't know if anyone would actually want to share their grades or not. If you, I can understand people may not want to do that because it would give us, well, you don't, okay. The way right, the degree classifications work according to percentage bands. So if you've got over 40%, you've got a degree. So you've passed and it's a degree, a 2-2 is what it's called. If you've got an average, so that's between 40 and 49%. 50 to 59%, no, actually, sorry, a two, so 40 to 49 is a third. Okay, so if you were to get a third, I just wouldn't say you got a third, I'd just say you've got a degree. So I wouldn't give it classification. If you get asked, you say it's a third. It's fine, you've got a degree. It's not, but it's not one to shout about. You've just got through it. So that's 40 to 49. 50% to 59% average is a 2-2. Okay, and I think if you're working full time and you've got a 2-2, you know, that's quite acceptable. But really, what we really want to be getting is either a 2-1 or a first, if you can. So a 2-1 is 60 to 69% average, and a first is 70% upwards. And it doesn't matter whether you got 99%, which you will never get, because we're basically, our marking boundaries, we're really only allowed to give between sort of 30 and high 70s. Anything over that goes through such a high level of scrutiny that occasionally we can get into the 80s, but we have to really, really heavily justify it and get that all sort of, because at that level, you should be able to have it published in like academic papers and things. So it's of exceptional quality. So 70% upwards is the first. Okay. So if we go back to last year, what was your first block last year? Can you remember for the second year?
That's a good question.
Operations.
And it was what? Operations. Right. Anyone want to give me a number as to what, you know, for the first operations, can you remember what you got?
No.
Okay.
Is it 2-part? 201?
It will be 2 parts, but it's the total mark that you got as a module.
I don't have to see that. My grades on Moodle are right mess to read.
Have you ever been told anything about, is it solar? Does anyone know?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I can't find my link to it.
No, and I don't know much about how you get access to it. I need to look into that for you because
it wasn't an email. I know that we got
okay.
the university email we get given.
Oh, they're a pain for that as well, because you don't get access to your work emails. Solar should be your finalised results for your different modules, so that should be the place to check. So let's say last year we got 67%. No, we're going to get better and better throughout this year. So we got 62% for operations. What did you get for what was the next module? Can you remember that?
Leading and managing people.
Okay, so we're getting a bit better now. So we've got 65% for that. Block 3, what was that?
Entrepreneurship.
Ooh, I'm writing that one at the moment. I like that one. Did you like it?
I think that was my favourite one.
Yeah, good. Oh, that's good, that is, yeah, because it's a bit of you've got a bit of flair with that. Yeah, you're coming up with sort of ideas and stuff. Okay, because you like that one, say 71% for that. And then what a finance, wasn't it? Just is that right? Yeah. So obviously you all did brilliantly at finance, so we went up to 74% there. So we're getting here. So you'll see what it is basically. We go over a 2-year period. It's the best scenario. So we've either got last year and this year. It's going to be the best of 7 out of the 8 modules. And what I mean by that is if you do really bad, like you've got to pass it, otherwise that's not, like you have to do it again. So the minimum you can get is 40%. So we're going to say marketing, which is the one we're going to do now. Say you really just don't like it, which couldn't happen because marketing is brilliant. So we're going to say you got 40% for that one. The next one, organisational development, you got 65. Strategic management, you're really into that, so you got 75. And then the business project, because that is what you do for a living, you got 78% for that. See, you went, so we average out of the last 2 years, you take one out. So the worst one, the 40%, we take that out. So you're almost allowed to mess at once. And then it's the average of the remaining 7. Okay, so we haven't got that 40, but the remaining 7 we divide by 7, and that your average is 72.7. Okay. Or if last year you're building up, because when I had my handover with Lynn, she said a few of you have started to get more feedback and you started to get up from the sort of, you're starting to get over a grade boundary, so you're starting to get into the sort of 70s, just about or just around on it. So we'll say last year you got all in the 60s. So you're starting to get, so you get sort of around 62, 63, 62, and then you manage to get up to sort of 69. And then this year, apart from marketing, which I'm still going to leave at 40, you've got it sus. So you've got 72%, 71%, and 70%. So the last 3 blocks this year, you've got over 70%, and because it's either the average of 7 over 8 for the 2 years, or if this year is your best year, so this is why it's worth really knuckling down for that, it's your top 3 averaged. So even what I'm saying now is, even if you don't do very well on one of them and you don't get on with it, as long as the others, you're averaging over 70. So it could just be, so it could be still that maybe one of them you're absolutely brilliant at. So block 2, the next one, organisational development, you just think that one's yours. So that's 75 you've got there, and then you get 68 and 68. You're still going to get first. Or if we take it down by 10%, you'd still get a 2-1. So it isn't the top. Basically, it's not over the whole year an average, it's over the top 3 this year. So what is that sort of what you were expecting?
So just to clarify for myself, because I'm just looking, I've logged into Solar.
Right, okay.
I've only got results from year 2 for 3 modules so far.
So what are do you mind actually saying what they are, and then we can start to calculate what you're getting?
So one was 65.2.
Right.
One was 64.
64, yep.
And then the other one was like 62.
62. Can you remember what you got last module, roughly?
I can, 1 second, I was going to...
Oh, do you know what? It's probably not gone to the board yet, because you've only done it recently, haven't you?
Yeah, to be honest, it averages about 62 again.
62.
Looking at the ones in Moodle.
Okay, and then say this year, say you're onto something, say you get the same again this year, okay. You're comfortably into a 2-1 then. Okay. Honestly, I think because so many people get like it seems silly now, because when I know I mentioned, but like when I did a degree, 2 firsts were exceptional, but now they're more common. But it's still, if you are working to full time and you get a 2-1, because I got a 2-1, I absolutely worked my socks off. It's still absolutely fantastic. A 2-1 working full time, and have you got like 10 years work experience as well? Pretty much.
10 years in September, yeah.
there you go. You know, and to have done that while she worked, you know, it is absolutely brilliant. So, what I suppose my message that I want to say to you is just, if you're starting to do this and you realise it would be, I don't mean to be right, but it would be very, very unlikely now that you're going to start shifting into the 70s, just because it's such a massive, the difference between the amount of work that's involved and the skills that you need. If you're on the high 60s, you can do it with like quite a push, but it's still quite a lot of work. If you're sort of averaging in the sort of low mid 60s, I just carry on as you're doing and get a 2-1. And
I was aiming for a 2-1, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. So it takes the pressure. The worst case scenario that I have when I'm marking is for saying that in the final year, so you've got someone that's sort of basically they need 80% for their business project to get it first, and the chances of them getting it, because they've probably like got 65, 60, you know, around that, to make that jump is a lot of pressure. And actually, see what I mean here? You've got like 65, 65, 65, and they have to get 80 to get a first. It's really.
So is that block for the business plan then, Hannah?
Yeah, business project.
Right. Okay.
So the business project is quite a nice one because you've got a lot of scope over what you do. But everything, the business project will be second marked, and because it's second marked, the level of scrutiny is really high on it, if that makes sense. So actually, so I'm marking business projects at the moment with one of my colleagues, and I am a more generous marker than she is. So I'm saying ones that I think are about 72, 73, and she's bringing them back into the 60s. And so it is the business project. But yeah, just bear in mind in the final year, because every year it almost gets a bit harder to get the marks, if that makes sense, because we're looking for more critical analysis. We're expecting you to step up a level.
Could you confirm what the actual degree title is with all the?
It's BA Honours
Yeah.
in Management Leadership. Just let me double check, but I'm CUC Honours and Leadership. I'm pretty sure that's, yeah. Here we go. I just want to get it absolutely spot on. So yeah, it's management and leadership. Yeah, BA Honours.
And does say worst come to the worst, and had to put the last year on hold. Would you get anything from the 2 years you've done so far?
Well, I'm just thinking that because actually each year you're meant to get something from it. So you have got, so the first year I believe is a HNC. So yeah, we've got year 1 HNC, year 2 is a HND, and the final year is the degree. So that's why it's sometimes called the top-up degree, because it's like the final year that gets you the honours bit. The other thing, depending on the nature of what you do at work, if you carry on the apprenticeship route that you're going at the moment, you'll do an endpoint assessment, and then you can apply to get chartered status as a manager. And you need a degree and 3 years management experience. And you don't even have to manage people. You just have to show that you manage projects or that you manage something. So in theory, you could come out with a BA honours in business management leadership, plus you're a chartered manager, which would be amazing, wouldn't it, really, CV wise? There's a lot, you know, there's a lot that you're going to get out of this, but like if you do have to put it on hold, what I'd suggest is, even if you know redundancies coming like really soon, so try and finish this module with me, try and put it in, and so we can almost like freeze it there. So then if we can try and get another route in, so you've only got 2 or 3 modules left, rather than having to do this one again. Honestly, like you are fortunate in the sense that as well, because Kelly's still involved, isn't she, in your journey, you can get people that will fight your corner anymore. Honestly, you know, some tutors just aren't really very bothered, but just like you've got some good people on your side here. Okay. Right. I mean, I've had texts in the evening, I've never met you all, saying, you know, things are looking quite like there might be redundancies, so many people are affected, and this is Kelly like giving us all an update as to how you're doing. So we really, you know, this is above and beyond. It's not just a job. Okay. Has anyone got any more questions on the classification calculator? So if we put it on Moodle, then you can have a little play with it yourself, can't you? And see for your individual, and then just keep a track on how you're doing. So for some of you, if you are naturally in the 70s anyway, or in the 60s and happy with a 2-1, your final module, you almost can just relax. Don't do it too badly, and don't aim for 40, because that is such a dangerous strategy when people do that because they think they've got it in the bag. Don't do that, please. But how nice is that to get to the end of the degree and know that you've got it sorted, basically, as long as you don't mess it up, the last one. It's pretty good. Any questions? Okay. Welcome. Was that Kieran? Did you come in? I've actually let him in. Oh no, I thought he. Sorry, I just stopped recording this bit. Poor guy. I saw someone wanted to be admitted.